7 in the morning and bike's just about loaded. So 280 miles yesterday, 285 miles yesterday, mammoth trip today, about 280 again to Calais, and then the 250 miles slog home. So let's see how we get on. Morning everyone, triumphbikerman here on the last morning and the very long trek back home. I'll set the mileometer up. So 284 miles did yesterday, right slug, and it is now what, 10 to 7. The Euro tunnel, we need to be there for about 20 past 2 for a 20 past 3 boarding, but I know some of the guys have gone at crack of dawn this morning hoping to get an earlier train, and me and Bob were the last to leave. I thought we were doing all right, to be fair. Yeah, we're the last to leave today and hoping to get an earlier train also, but I doubt it with all of them not going earlier on. So if there were any spare places, I doubt we'll get any. However, we are now en route and it's a lovely sunny morning, absolutely beautiful, and according to SatNav here it's going to take us about, give or take, 5 hours to get there. I didn't have any brekkie this morning actually. I was it was all paid for and whatnot, but I didn't want to I didn't fancy anything this morning, and also I didn't even go out last night for anything to eat after a really heavy dinner yesterday, and then it was so boiling hot that I decided not to bother having anything. So I'm hoping, well, we're hoping to get the earlier train if we can get it, but that awaits to be seen. We are going to have a couple of stops as well, of course, so let's just see where we get to. Go on then, bus. Right, so yeah, I'm hoping for a bit of a clear run today, because the last thing you want to be doing is getting under pressure with time, etc. As I say, we have to be there an hour earlier. We are leaving in plenty of time, to be fair. Maybe going to need a couple of fuel stops. In fact, we're going to have a fuel stop now when we see a garage. But well, what can I say? It's the road home after a few epic days on the road. It's been superb, thoroughly enjoyed it. This is the bit that I'm not going to enjoy, is trying to get home now, and when we get to Folkestone, oh god, I was thinking about getting a B&B or a hotel or something for the night, but I just want to get home now, and I think that's where I want to be. So let's get to a fuel stop, let's get some fuel in and do some hard miles, because yeah, hoping that we have a clear run.
I need to get petrol before we hit the motorway.
So I just fueled up now, and first stretch of the journey, 56 kilometres, but I have to confess there was a bit of a funny occurrence that happened yesterday. And I wasn't aware of this fully until we'd stopped, of course, and had a few drinks and looked through some of the WhatsApp messages. So when the trip was being organised, and we were told that we were going to be going through the roads of Switzerland, there is a requirement in Switzerland to get what they call a vignette, and that is a pass to get you onto Switzerland's roads and tolls, etc. And the police can check up on this at any time and pull you in and just ensure that you've got one, whether it's electronic or not. It needs to be bought. Now this is quite clearly put on the instructions, that you kind of take your own chances really as to whether you want one or not. You know, some people may be lucky enough to get caught, some people are alright, etc. So I've got to say that I completely forgot. I did read about it, I absolutely completely forgot. Didn't think anything of it, and there's a few guys yesterday, a couple in particular, well, one of them in particular actually, who classified himself from the first time that we met as a grumpy old man. I'm not going to name any names or anything like that, okay, that wouldn't be fair. So we're going through a checkpoint. There was myself, Bob, and another guy with us, and anyway, didn't think anything about it. There was a bloke there. I nodded and smiled to him, and he duly just let me through. There was also a policewoman there as well, and Bob was saying to me after, he said he did the same thing, and she smiled back. So we got through absolutely fine, bearing in mind it was a really hot day, really long day, etc. So anyway, there was a small group, and part of that group was said grumpy old man. I'm not even going to tell you the type of bike that he's got actually. Anyhow, long story short, they went through the same checkpoint, and the lady, the policewoman, for whatever reason, pulled him up, and I think there was 4 of them that got pulled up in the end. Anyhow, they went through all of this. Have you got one? Did the checks. They haven't got one, and slapped them with a £220 sterling fine. Now, I'll tell you, the vignette I think is costing about 68 euros, something like that. There's a couple of other regulations that you've got to have with the vignette. Now, I'd completely forgotten about this. I would have paid it, no issues whatsoever. But as I say, Bob was the same. Bob completely forgot as well. And a few minutes earlier they'd sent us through. So we met at the bar yesterday. Obviously, said grumpy old man is even grumpier. Alright, he pulled up the organiser afterwards and said he's not happy, blah de blah de blah. However, the organiser Adam had actually confirmed it through that no one has been caught and stopped yet. However, you take your chance, so you cover yourself on that side of things. Now, grumpy, all right, met him at the bar last night, and I don't wish ill on anyone. I just don't. All right, we don't do that sort of thing. However, the whole palaver, because it's winding him up and winding him up. So I met him at the bar last night, and he was telling me about his woes with this so-called bitch of a policewoman that just didn't like him. Now, oh dear, you can make of that what you want. All right, you can make of that what you want. So when he turned around to us and told us about this bitch of a policewoman, I actually said to him that she was perfectly fine. So was her colleague, who was the guy. So we just all smiled, nodded, and they just let us through. Which he was already red and sort of fuming. Well, this just about tipped him over the edge. Yeah, he didn't enjoy his drink, and he moved on to another bar shortly afterwards. Yeah, I was telling Bob about this, and I was literally in tears, and I mean tears streaming down my face. And we were only on about this the other day, actually, just talking about how you get on in life, and it's nice to be nice, and you do the right thing. You tend to, even though you might not speak the language, you can have a smile, and people just generally tend to warm to you. Now, I'm not saying that it worked in this case. I'm not saying that at all. But why did they let us through and collar the lads? And I'm genuinely, it really is an expensive little mistake. That it could have been me, it could have been Bob, but it had to happen to him. And he mentioned his particular type of bike. Oh, it must be the bike that she didn't like, and all this type of stuff. And then he was trying to blame the but he'd actually sent an email back to confirm on his and his friend's behalf that they understood the rules and regulations about the vignette. So it was unfortunate, and it's the last thing you want, really. particularly after a really long day and a really hot day. Fortunately, one of the other lads as well, he had to fork out a few quid for a new chain and sprocket set, and that delayed his journey by about 3 or 4 hours. We got there quite late, so it was an expensive day for a few of them yesterday, more so than just fuel stops and food. But grumpy old fella, I think even as they went to another pub yesterday, he would have still been moaning about it. I did say to Bob, I said, it's a story, and now I'm still laughing about it now, thinking about how red he went in his face. He was as red as his bike in the end, you lot got through, and it couldn't have been long, because they were the same people, the same policewoman and same policeman. But so let that be a bit of a warning, is that if you do go to Switzerland for the sake of a few euros, I think it's about 60 euros, 70 euros, something like that, it's worth getting. Now, they did stop another rider who did have Vignette on the phone. They had an electronic application, and they let them through. But you can't blame the organiser if they have confirmed this information to you already. You can't blame them at all. This is just, look, you roll the dice, you take a punt, and sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't. But it was a costly mistake for Mr. Grumpy and a few of the others. So you are warned. But yeah, funny little story from yesterday, and yeah, I think when myself and a couple of friends get together back in Blighty, that'll be one that is recounted from time to time. And if I showed you a face of this guy on the group chat, he even looks like someone that isn't very happy with his side. But anyhow, that was an unfortunate but funny story. So we just stopped off at the tolls, so I looked a bit of a prat, trying to put my card into a slot, trying to pay for something, but you didn't have to do that. You just collected a ticket and off you were away. So I assume that we're going to have to put the ticket in later on and pay. Anyhow, that's another thing. So I just thought I'd touch upon maybe group dynamics in these rides. So what I've learned, it's the first organised ride that I've been on, and there were, I don't know, circa 17 bikes. One of the bikes had a pillion, and over the last week I've seen certain groups form. It forms down to a few different reasons. These sort of for want of a better term, cliques, or riding groups, or whatever you want to call it, they start forming. One particular group would like to possibly consider themselves to be fast riders, are riders of high ability, and also in the evening I've heard talk about so and so is probably not as quite developed in the riding stakes and the speed stakes. One of that particular group, there's always a kind of natural leader, great guy. I don't say anything other than that. Always been very hospitable to me, let me sit on his bike, cleaned it every morning, cleaned it every night, made sure the thing was immaculate. And then you've got maybe a group of people that follow him, and I know he sort of organises routes, back here, and sort of certain other routes, and getting everyone up on time, etc. And you do need that, I think, particularly when there's a few of you. Now within that group you'll probably get one or two people, and I think there was one who got left behind a couple of times, a bit cheesed off, and all the rest of it. And then you've got another group of maybe 2 or 3 riders. one of which whose arse was always on fire, absolutely caning his bike all of the time. And within that group there'd be a steady rider but could also put his foot down if need be, and another guy who was used to track days, so also in that category of you know, wanting to stick the old pedal down from time to time, but you know, a lot of ability, a lot of experience. You had a couple that sort of did as they wanted to do, which is fine. I think they were the ones that Bob rode with on the way to the hotel on the first day, and I think to be fair, I think I rescued him because they wanted to do their own thing, and Bob was sort of waiting along on that second day for him. Well, the first day after the hotel in France, and then of course he got myself and Bob, and there was another couple of riders who met last year at the NC 500 on this same, I think the same particular group. One of which rode a bit with us yesterday, and the lad is a bit laid back and you know, sort of bugged him a little bit, wanting to take pictures here, there and everywhere, and you know, a little bit late out of his pit or whatever, whereas the other guy wanted to get on, and he liked to put his foot down from time to time. And I see these sort of dynamics and relationships building over the week, and obviously myself and Bob are sort of same speed, not particularly fussed about a lot of the stuff in regards to how long you've ridden or how fast you've rode or anything, and just here for the experience. And it's very interesting when you see these sort of characters, really. That's what people are. They are different characters. Some may keep in touch, and others will never see each other again. But I'm a big people watcher. Well, that's the first, what, 100 miles done on 102 miles, with an hour and 40 odd minutes in the saddle, and well, you can see it's starting to get a bit windy, and there are some showers coming down now. I'm hoping that it's just a temporary shower. I don't particularly want to be riding for the next few hours in the wet, especially with a couple of the issues that we've got with this helmet, which I will discuss shortly. Right, that's another toll done. Well, another ticket picked up. I'm not 100% sure how much they are, and my main card, for some reason, credit card, has been playing up a little bit. Usually good as gold, and just shows that when you come on these sort of trips, it's always better just to bring 2 or 3 cards, you know, just to give you a bit of an option and a choice, because the main card that I tend to use has faltered a few times for some reason. Tried cleaning it and all sorts. There's no issues with it otherwise. So, but yeah, I'm just having a couple of thoughts actually about the trip itself and how it was organised, and the way it's advertised is the fact that you make your own way from destination to destination. It's just not kind of feasible for everyone to ride in in a group, and I absolutely 110% agree. You've got people that in this group that we've just had that just flew off like bats out of hell. 3 or 4 in particular who were quite keen to really go around the place and not stop as many times, and it was all about speed, and they wanted to do that. They enjoyed it. One of them had to be reined in a little bit, and then you've got other people, you know, particularly like myself, like a couple of other chaps that I can remember, who like to stop, like to take in the surroundings, take a few pictures, etc, etc. Now there was one lad in the group of 2, cheesing the other lad off a little bit because it stopped quite often, and you know, every sort of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, just to take his camera out. I rode with him for a few hours the other day, myself and Bob, and he was a bit keen on that. I can't blame him, that's what people want to do. And I know the other chap that he was riding with, you know, got a little bit of beef on about it, but oh, at the end of the day, it's choices. It wouldn't work if everyone was riding together. It just wouldn't, because different riders have different riding styles, and I've particularly liked the way that the information has been sent through to you the night before as to the hotel, recommended routes, routes that you don't have to take. I know that on the passes, that small group with the little lead rider, he'd put his own routes in to encompass all the 4 passes in one day. So, you know, you can do what you want, but it just works better. Just stopped for some fuel. I was literally 6 miles left on the reserve, which was a bit twitchy, just a tad twitchy, because of the number of or the lack of services on some of these roads. However, we've got here, we've got a full tank. We have done something like 220 odd miles so far today, and we're up for a full tank now, and we have another, what, 186 kilometers, an hour and 3/4. So yes, and we have also met Luke and Dave, a couple of lads who have been just refueling and getting a bite to eat now. I was thinking about getting something to eat then actually, but I'm still alright. I think today being a longer ride, I'm just going to literally just graze today. But we are back in Blighty. I'm just speaking to some of the lads now actually, and getting some feedback on and the thoughts on the ride, and generally very, very impressed, you know, with the routes and, you know, the organisation, etc. A couple of bits about the length of some of the routes, but you know, it's like anything, you know, to get them roads, you need to put the work in to get there, and the sites. So, you know, I don't think that's anything to worry about. But yeah, it was good to see a few of the guys down here before we part on our ways. And Bob has said to me if I am ever in the district to give him a shout. The Stirling area, absolutely. You might find me there sooner rather than later. So yeah, hey mate. Hey, I'm fed. A couple of Costa bacon rolls, my favourites, an Americana, bit of fresh air. It's 3:15. Fueled up, bit of music on, and now it's the slow ride north. What an absolute teat. Come on! Fucking hell. Cheers. How much of the fucking... It's called filtering, mate. So I've just gone through the Dartford tunnel, sweating like a pig. Car to car traffic, back end to front end to back end, flipping it, and you can't filter in the tunnel, so you just have to stay there. And you know what I've noticed? I've come back into Blighty, good old Blighty, and over on the continent people actually want to give you space to filter. They're moving out the way. Down here I've had at least 3 BMWs, yes, BMWs, that just cut you off and don't want to move. Now on one occasion I had to give him a little pip of the horn. I thought, what an absolute plonker. I think he was with his missus, like, you know, suffering from small man syndrome. So anyhow, eventually moved out of the way. But that just goes to show, doesn't it? One of the early videos I talked about, you know, their passion for assisting bikers down on the continent. And I tell you what, I've come back here and what I said came true. They're just not brilliant. Now, I'm not saying everyone, but look, we can't take a view that everyone's like that. However, you know, there's a noticeable difference. Seriously considering the Pyrenees trip for next year. I think I'm going to do it because I don't know how long I'm going to be able to ride for. So I know one or two of the other people, one or two of the other guys are thinking about it as well. So the A1 here to, I think, catching the A46 to Newark, and then the A15 up towards Lincoln Way. And that is the 500 mile mark hit today. Certainly the longest ride I've ever done. Absolutely. By a long shot. Now this is what cheeses me off. You see her in front. She's just spraying her water now. Oh, it's convenient to get my windscreen cleaned. So for the last 4 miles, she's been right up my backside. Alright. Absolutely stuck to it. I gave her a chance to overtake. I pulled into the slow lane. She didn't want to do it. She was still hanging around in the fast lane. Alright. So I got back into the fast lane, and then she rears up again to the bike. And you know what? What did all of it achieve? I actually slowed down about 10 mile an hour, said, come on love, on your way. Right. Now for the last 2 miles, she's right in front of me. And then she suddenly decides that she's got a dirty screen. So she starts chucking out windscreen wash all over me. Nice one. I know the bike's dirty, but look, I'll do it myself when I get home, thanks. I tell you, some of them just don't have any brain cells at all. I bet you possibly got 1 or 2. Nah, probably 1. Now then, she's right up his backside as well, look. Go on, put your foot down. It's such bad driving. In times when she was up his arse and he was braking, and I didn't see a brake light come on. You know, give yourselves plenty of space with the vehicle in front. That's where the majority of accidents happen. But there she is now. Alright, there's a speed camera up, so if she gets caught, it must be idiotic driver syndrome. I swear blind, I've just been on about that young lass in the small red car. I didn't get it on camera, but I wasn't recording. But there was a space in the road on the right hand side with an outlet, with a road where you could, as that one there, however you could go into a central reservation and take a right onto this main road when it's clear. I emphasize the fact when it's clear. So I'm going in the slow lane, obviously sticking to the speed limit. There are cars behind me coming up in the fast lane, and what does she decide to do? Yeah, I'm not stereotyping up here at all. She decides to pull into the fast lane on the A1. Oh my god. Do you know what? As drivers of many years, you kind of learn to look out for hazards like that. You know, they do the tests now, don't they? The test centres, hazard perception, and you know, just to keep an eye out on things and just imagine the worst. Now, I was already doing that because I saw her creeping out, and I could not believe. I mean, I thought she was going to come into the slow lane. I already had my hands on the brake. Oh, words fail me, and I could hear through this helmet the drivers behind me giving her what for with their horns. And you know what? You know, they go on about the French driving and driving on the continent. I don't think I've come across anything in a whole week. And I've come across instances like this already, or not allowing bikers to filter. Now what does that say? And I've also come back to a road that you can't completely trust, and that was, I think it was on the M11. It was very, very patchy indeed. Look, it's a speed camera, mate. You're doing about 65 mile an hour. Whatever his name is, Mr. Fan. Get yourself back in the slow lane. Oh no, gets in the fast lane and then slows down. Absolutely idiotic. Anyway, I don't want to become a grumpy old man. What is it? Another 62 miles. You know, I might just have another quick stretch with about 50 miles to go. Unless I can see anything else. I wish that camera was on though when that young lady pulled out and did a U-ey onto the road. There you go, look. He feels a bit safer now, doesn't he? There's no camera. Shocking hell. Anyway, look, there's another one. That's a typical example. And there, you know, I get it, it's a busy road. You know, I would beg the question, should they really be putting them exits on busy roads like this? I bet there has been more than one or two scrapes in the past. Speaking of speed cameras, when I got on the Channel Tunnel, Ben was next to me. You know, the tearaway with the 765R. Anyway, he turned around and says, well, a bit nonchalant, well, we're going to sit back and wait for the speeding fines now. The speeding tickets. I tell you what, there's not a speeding clerk there, alright, that has got enough time to print as many out as what he might get. And that lad has really traipsed it, absolutely traipsed it. And it was him that had the issue with the chain and sprocket. I think it was something like 350, 400 quid. I thought it was the other one, Alex with the Africa Twin, but he was just adjusting his chain yesterday morning. It was actually Ben. Look, it's just one of those things, isn't it, that happens. You can only do your best while you're out and about. Oil it as much as you can do, clean it, adjust it if you've got the technical know-how. I don't particularly have that at all, and I prefer to take it down to mechanics. And I think that's what I'll be doing anyway. I know it was serviced about a month ago. You know, the chain was adjusted, but after what will be, well, I'll have to check actually, over 2,000 miles, well over 2,000 miles over the last week. Doesn't do any harm for a quick adjustment. Anyway, I've just decided to stop here for a couple of minutes. It's a usual spot. I stop and have a stretch. What is it, about 40 odd miles, 50 miles from home. I just tend to, I'm a little bit superstitious in a couple of ways. A couple of things I like to do, and this is one of them. And also I've got a couple of bars left, so even though there's plenty there to be able to get home, I'll just put a few quid in, save me from topping it up next time. We are on the A15, nearly back to where we started a week and a bit ago, and it's on the last stretch really, what, 23 miles. Got to be a bit careful here because of the speed camera. And I just thought I'd give a couple of opinions about the bike, how the bike has performed over the last week. Look, I bought a Triumph Tiger because I love the triple engine and I love the 850. It's performed faultlessly really well. I know I've been to Scotland in it a few times now, but it's just such a lovely bike to ride. It's in a bit of an upright position. It's not, I mean, it is a lot heavier than the Street Triple, granted, but when I do see some of the 1200s, I mean, I saw some over on the trip, a couple of the lads had the 1200s. Yes, you know, they do have every bit of gadgetry going. The fuel tank's a lot bigger, and to be fair, the seat was more comfortable as well when I sat on both of the lads' 1200. But you know, would it make me part with the Tiger? Probably not. You know, this really does everything that I really want it to. You know, it's responsive. It's got loads of low down grunt. It's pretty easy to ride. I say pretty easy. You know, I suppose that the shift assist has helped. I've really enjoyed using that. And could it do with cruise control? And you know, you tend to let your guard down. I don't know. That could be a debate for another day. Could have had a rest with my right hand while doing all of them long rides, probably. So I might look into something. I know there's a couple of other things that you can get on the market, but overall fantastic. I'm going to show, put a picture up of the state of it at the moment. A couple of the lads that were on the tour would be disgusted. They were cleaning their bikes every morning and every night, I think. This is really, really seen. I mean, I'll stick a picture on anyway with regards to how bad it is. It's an absolute disgrace, and I'm going to show it a bit of TLC. The other thing that I wanted to do was probably just review the helmet, because obviously I'd had my Schubert, is it a C2 or a C3, for quite a number of years. Fantastic, quiet, really comfortable, and spot on, you know. And in the end I just changed it really because it had been over 10 years. I know the recommended is 5 years, so I changed it after a lot of messing about and trying loads of stuff onto this Shoei Neotech 3, and I've got to say I'm not really impressed with this Shoei. You know, it's the first time I've properly used it over this tour, and it's just not a patch, and obviously, you know, it's good money as well. It's high money. It's supposed to be a premium helmet. A couple of things really. The first thing is it's developed a fault, I think, with the clip, you know, the ratchet that goes into your chin strap, and it is literally brand new, this helmet. Probably the second time I wore it was when I come on to the tour. Another thing I noticed, especially going down, when it was really, really sailing it down, very, very heavy rain, is that the visor was letting water in around the back, and when it's dark and when it's so wet, it makes it incredibly dangerous. And them two are safety points, by the way. You know, the ratchet strap, you know, the handle, and the visor. I don't know whether the rubber that's supposed to seal it in just doesn't look the right one for the helmet. And having made a considerable investment in this, first thing I'm going to do tomorrow is call the dealership from where I bought it, because that's not on, you know, and it can make you a bit tetchy actually, especially when it comes to your helmet. You know, that's one of the most important safety items that you wear when you ride a bike. And you know, I was speaking to some of the guys and just telling them about my concerns. They fully agreed. And you know what, I may go back to the Schubert. And just a quick one really on the Cardo HD Spirit, because I got the HD Spirit for this one because it was on offer with a helmet as opposed to the Nexin. What I would say is that the Nexin did everything that the Cardo can do and was a lot cheaper. So I don't know whether, and I would say that operation is probably just on par as well. So I don't really know whether there was a point of buying the Cardo, but I'll probably just change the Cardo onto another lid, because I say this one, you know, will be going back after I speak to them. So that's that. I mean, obviously it's not the dealership's fault. You know, they're selling me a premium helmet. I paid for it. I've had a couple of things happen that have been a little bit of bad luck with that dealership actually, but that'll be in for another video, and might even do a bit of a review actually as to how the issues were handled. Back to the roads of North Lincolnshire, God's own county. Mind you, everyone says that, don't they? Yorkshire, God's own county. Ooh, yeah, but it is a beautiful county actually. And the Lincolnshire Wolds, well worth a visit, well worth a visit. And as I'm riding through now, with what, only about 20 minutes to go, you know, it's nice to be home. I know it's nice to be away and, you know, go on some adventures, stay in a few new places. It's great. And I've visited over the last week now 6 countries, but there's no feeling like getting home after a bit of a break, and I am going to need a bit of a break, because I've done some serious mileage, and certainly, you know, it does take it out of you, particularly when it's, you know, relentless every day. But that's part and parcel of the adventure, and that's pushing the envelope, you know, to see what, you know, you're capable of doing and the machine is capable of doing. And whilst you are out and about, you experience new settings, new people, new sights, and that's the wonder that motorcycling gives you, really. I'm not saying you can't do it on in a car or motorhome and all the rest of it. You are one-to-one with the elements, and it's a fantastic way of seeing the world. So this has really tempted me now and really set the bar for my next one, and there will be a next one. I think there'll be a Scottish one as well this year, and I'll be making a video on that. And I think we're going to book on the Pyrenees one too, so that'll be something to look forward to for next year. And we'll have a look. There might be some other, you know, 2 or 3 day out tours as well, but we'll see what the situation is. And, if you are thinking about doing something like this, or you've never done it before, then you know, go with one of these organised tours. You know, they just do the booking of the hotels and work out the routes, and this one's been particularly good, and I've got no regrets whatsoever. And then if you do build the confidence, like a few of the others have had on the tour, you know, mark your own routes, do your Airbnbs, and, you know, put things more into your hand. Yes, you know, save you some money as well. So I've got 5 miles left to go. The clock on my bike says I've done 468 miles today, and you know what, when I Google mapped it last night, it said from where we were based in Nancy in France, it was about 575 miles, something like that. Isn't it scary how technology can be sometimes? Anyhow, I hope you've enjoyed the little trip with me. I am looking to put some more videos on. If you enjoyed it, if you consider following, that'd be great. If you didn't, put a comment on. The reason for the YouTube channel is so that I can look back at the channel and some memories with the bike. I wish I'd done it many years ago, since I started biking and since I started touring. But I'll be putting some more videos on, and any feedback, good, bad or indifferent, is much appreciated. We're all big boys and girls and we shouldn't let the odd comment affect our thinking or doing what we want to do. Remember, there's no such thing as failure. The only failure, as far as I'm concerned, is not giving stuff a go. And I would encourage anyone, A, to go out on that bike and do what you need to do, and also post them online. I'm always looking at various channels and always enjoying content. I find it brilliant that people of, shall we say, advancing years or not technologically minded would take something like this up. And something that I'm having a go at now, you know, sometimes I used to struggle to really switch a computer on in my younger years, and you know, this editing stuff is you know, way outside my comfort zone. And the YouTube channel and the GoPros and all the rest of it that comes with it. So I hope you've enjoyed the series, and hopefully Triumph Bikerman will see you soon. Bye for now.